For the woman watching this that feels like you did something wrong because that man is pulling away, you did something wrong because he's getting mean and critical and he never can seem to be satisfied. And maybe there's something that you've been doing. Maybe there's energy you've been bringing around him. Maybe it's something you did to hurt him and he still hasn't gotten over it. Maybe you're not as pretty as you used to be. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. No, it's not. Men get meaner when they don't want you anymore. And I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings. Actually, it has nothing to do with you, because what a man wants has everything to do with who he is, like what he's on, what he values. Like, let's just take, for instance, for those of y'all who got kids, you already know you could bring them. I'm talking about hibachi, 5-star restaurant, steak, medium well done by the top chef in the world. Do you think your child at 6 years old is going to choose that steak over chicken nuggets and french fries from McDonald's? If you got kids, you already know the answer. No. If they got a choice between whipped mashed potatoes, asparagus, 5-star restaurant steak, filet mignon, you name it, and McDonald's, the child is going to choose based on the fact that he or she is a child, the McDonald's. So when I say the man gets meaner when he don't want you to, that don't mean you got something wrong with you. You may be 5-star dining for a man with a child's appetite. And now he's just now revealing it because, well, Derrick, why was it that, he used to be sweet? Why was it that he used to do all of this stuff? And now he's cruel. Maybe he always was, and now he's ripping off that mask. It's almost definite he was. If you didn't do anything, if you didn't cross any boundaries that he expressed you shouldn't cross, I'm not talking about him all of a sudden trying to say you did something and make a problem out of nothing. No, if you didn't cheat, you didn't call him out his name, you didn't steal from him, you didn't give another man a chance with you, you didn't give other men the notion that they have a chance with you. That ain't got nothing to do with you whenever he switches up on you. And I want you to release yourself of the shame and the responsibility of trying to make things right. You can't make nothing right. And the problem is a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll try to sabotage their way out of a relationship because they don't have the balls to just say, I'm not interested. I want out. I know that's strong language, but a lot of dudes, they will stay in that relationship and only for the purpose of not burning the bridge yet. Because if you inherit the blame for what they already got made up in their mind, they'll always have access to you as if, you know what, maybe I've forgiven her. And that's what you're thinking. Maybe he's forgiven me. Maybe he's given us another chance. And you always thinking you got to live down some type of guilt when you don't. A lot of y'all still trying to live down the guilt. And I always say this when y'all hit me up trying to live down guilt from something you had nothing to do with breaking, nothing to do with being damaged. You just got to break that soul tie. Let that guilt go. It probably wasn't yours to have in the first place. Just being straight up. Again, if you didn't do nothing in terms of disrespecting, you ain't disrespect that man's mama, kids, mistreat nobody. No, that's not on you. He used to be so sweet. Now he's cruel. He used to compliment you. Now he criticizes everything that you do. He used to make effort. Now he making all kind of excuses to avoid you. You sitting here wondering what you did wrong, replaying every conversation, analyzing every interaction, his body language and so on, convinced that you must have caused this shift. But here's the truth. And this truth is going to set you free. His sudden meanness isn't about anything that you did or who you are. It's about what he wants to do that he don't have the balls to admit that he wants to do. He doesn't want you anymore. And it ain't got nothing to do with your value or your desirability. Hear me when I'm saying this. You don't have nothing to try to live down. When I say he don't want you no more, that's not your cue to say, well, what can make him want me? What can increase that? Because he used to. When you're dealing with a child's appetite, you got to let that child go and find McDonald's somewhere else. You don't dumb yourself down if you're Ruth Chris. You don't dumb yourself down You don't stop having 5-star restaurant quality environment and food and menu just because somebody wants McDonald's. And that's what happens. A lot of guys, that's just what it is. They get in a relationship with 5-star restaurant, they try to make it be something that they could truly enjoy and value. They get a couple of bites and you know what? They just can't leave McDonald's alone. But now they done got in a committed relationship to a 5-star restaurant. And they got to make 5-star restaurant feel like there's something you doing wrong, something wrong with your menu items. I don't like this. It's just like the brokey that goes to a restaurant and when that check come out, he can't pay. So he gonna put a bug on the table. He gonna claim that the food is not done right, that he's just not happy, that he feels sick, that he saw a rat, a roach or something, not because something is actually wrong with the food. Y'all hear what I'm saying? He'll do that because he can't afford the bill. And so in a relationship context, I don't want to lose nobody because y'all probably getting hungry. Instead of just breaking up with you, he'll try to break you down until you do it for him. His cruelty is his cowardly exit strategy. I want to make that very, very clear. His cruelty is his cowardly exit strategy. It ain't got nothing to do with you not being good enough, you not being desirable enough for something you need to change or adjust or improve in a relationship. He's not treating you badly because you changed up on him. He's treating you badly because he changed his mind about you. His shift in behavior reflects his shift in feelings, not any deficiency in your character. The same qualities he used to love about you suddenly become a target for his criticism because he can't keep up his end of the bargain to match that. Like your independence. The same independence he once upon a time found attractive, now he calls controlling or masculine or numb or cold-hearted. The emotional intelligence that he once appreciated now is too sensitive or looking for a problem in everything. You think you know everything. That same ambition of yours that he once admired now is overwhelming, and you want him to change. You want him to be more like you. No, it's not that you want him to change. That's not that you changed. It's that his interest did. And now he's weaponizing your strengths against you to justify his withdrawal. Christina says that's exactly what happened or how mine left. And like I said, when you stay in a relationship like that for too long, it can imprint you afterwards with this bitterness, with this feeling of guilt and shame. And it's not something that healing alone can do. You have to break the soul tie. As you invested yourself, as you guys got deep into the relationship, you tied souls with that man. Nothing wrong with it because you honestly were looking at marriage forever, whatever the case is. But now that relationship is over, you're trying to heal yourself while keeping ties at the soul to that man. And there are strategies you can use to break that soul tie so you can purge that man and everything that he imprinted on you, everything that he taught you about yourself or taught you to think about yourself, every narrative that you now have since being with him, every trust issue, every fear of opening up again, every bitterness that you have towards those who you know ain't got half the qualities that you got, but they got the relationship that you want. All of that is not about you just forgiving and forgetting or it's about you breaking the soul tie. People get it so twisted when it comes to soul ties and think, well, that must mean that I want him and I don't want him, so I ain't got no soul tie. It could have been a one night stand and you can have a soul tie. And you notice that you're not quite yourself no more. I went too far in depth on my masterclass to take too much attention talking about it. If you want the full masterclass for free, where I broke down how to break soul ties, first off, to identify if you have them, because you probably got multiple, and then to break them all so you can wipe your soul's slate clean, comment the word soul tie. I'll send it to you for free. Or click the link that I pinned down there in the comments. It's called Breaking the Soul Tie. That's the masterclass where I broke this down, how to completely rid yourself of any rumination, any thoughts, any imprint, any lack of healing from your ex. This is the last step to your healing process. If it feels like you done did everything, but you still ain't quite healed yet, you got to break that soul tie. But back to what I was saying. If you with a man, he done got mean and he's cruel and all of that stuff. He picking fights with you. He doesn't want to resolve any conflict. I'm telling you now, it's because it gives him permission to distance himself. So creating that drama, it provides him with an excuse to pull away without admitting that he wants out. Because if he does that, he has to admit why he wants out. And there's no legitimate reason. You have done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong. Every argument becomes his justification for treating you worse. And you see, when a dude gets past the honeymoon phase, that's just a distracting season of the relationship. And he gets to the truth of how he shows up in relationships, his capacity, his fears, his vulnerabilities, his unhealed wounds and traumas that he's never addressed, that are his job to address solely. Then the truth of him comes forth in that relationship, and he needs a scapegoat. He needs a bad guy, because it can't be him. If he was willing to allow it to be him, he would have already done the work to address these things. But the reason why he's 35, 45, 55 years old, still operating from this wounded place, is because he's always had somebody else to create as the scapegoat for why he's acting the way he's acting. Does this make sense to anybody? If it's making sense, put facts down in the comments. If what I'm saying is making sense to you right now, put facts down in the comments. If what I'm saying makes sense to you, put facts down in the comments. Somebody said, what's the difference between a trauma bond and a soul tie? Again, I went in on that in the masterclass, but I'll give it to you in short. So when you're dealing with like a trauma bond, you're dealing with two people who unhealthily bonded together, were a source of coping mechanism, if you will, for each other's pain. That's a result of a trauma that was suffered in the previous relationship, maybe even in childhood. When it comes to a soul tie, you could be a completely healthy individual, and you still will be linked with this person in terms of your soul. You're opening up to this man. You're giving him a proximity to you that you ain't giving to everybody else. That's your soul, your emotions, your thought patterns, your will, your belief system. Like, just consider that like the soul headquarters, right? So at the soul, this is why whenever you leave somebody that you've been with for however long, you feel almost a physical pain, because they got to the headquarters, like your soul, the nucleus of your soul, and they were able to make themselves at home. They became a part of your normal, your everyday, whenever you did things or you watched things, like they took up a certain space that kind of belongs to them in a sense. And it feels weird doing things without them. In fact, it can feel literally physically painful to now do things without them. That means there was a tie there. Tie just meaning a connection. Okay. Tie just meaning a connection. So if this person who was not really your soul mate is soul tied with you, and it's time to break that relationship, or you have to break and now heal from that relationship because they were never your soul mate, what's going to happen is you got some renovation with your soul to do. So think of the soul tie breaking. And again, I don't want to take too much time because I talked about this in the masterclass, and I'm already going in. The soul tie is like renovating a house. So you get a house. It had tenants in there that had no business being in there. Say you're the landlord. This is your home. You're kicking them out. You evicted the bad tenants. They left stuff a mess. They left old, dirty laundry. They left bed bug mattresses. They did all of that kind of stuff. Breaking the soul tie is gutting all of that nastiness out, getting your house back in order so that now you can get the right tenants in who belong there, who deserve to be there, who's going to do right by your property. Okay. So I hope that's in a sense, it's a very condensed version of what a soul tie is versus a trauma bond. You could be a completely healthy individual. You're going to have a soul tie with somebody, your soulmate. Hopefully we're meant to have soul ties. Let me say that. I know like, oh, in the Bible, there are demonic soul ties and there are good soul ties. The good soul ties are with your soulmate, with your children. Like, you're supposed to be tied at the soul with certain individuals, but not the people who are temporary. So when these people are temporary, you have to purge everything about them in the space that they occupy, their dirty laundry, their bed bug ridden mattress, everything in the house that they brought in with them or ruined while they was there. Gut it, clear it out, renovate your soul with a soul tie breaking. And I go through the steps of how to do that in the masterclass, Breaking the Soul Tie. Now, again, we gotta reel it back in. Reel it back in. But back to what I was saying. When that man is picking fights and he's showing you really he's not your soulmate, but he don't want to just straight up just say what it is, because now you're going to confront him and he has to answer for it. He will make you the bad guy. He'll create the drama. He'll do all of these. He'll start fights over insignificant things. He'll use your quote unquote attitude as the reason that he's cold towards you. He'll create the problems and blame you for being upset about him. He'll manufacture conflict so that he can point to the tension as proof that the relationship isn't working, even though he's trying, conveniently leaving out the fact that he's the one creating the tension, of course. Conveniently leaving that out. Deetra Grayson says shouldn't have gotten back with him at the 40 years, should have stayed in the friend zone. I'm convinced that every time you rekindle an old relationship that ended for whatever reason, you're always going to get reminded as to why you left them in the first place. I'm just convinced. I see that happening too often. There are times where two people just met in the wrong season and they can get it right. I've seen that too. But 90% of the time when you rekindle a relationship for something that you left, and it was a very legitimate reason why you left. It wasn't mutual. I'm convinced you always gonna get reminded as to why you left in the first place. But I wanna make it make sense why that man is suddenly cold. And the reason also is because I don't want you giving excuses to him. I don't want you saying, well, because he's going through a lot, because he's been through a lot, because his mama is sick, because his goldfish died, because his friends betrayed him, because his baby mama is mean to him, because it's this, because all of these things will become reasons why he's allowed to continue to overstay his welcome in your life, therefore doing more and more damage on your heart. All of these things will be reasons why you allow him to stay even longer. So he gonna position it in multiple ways that's very covert. He'll suddenly want to be just honest. I'm just telling you the truth when it comes to all of your flaws, when really it's just cruelty disguised as communication. I'm just being real. Nobody ever told you this. That's why you upset. You just don't like to hear the truth. They say all of this kind of stuff. He's not helping you grow. He's trying to make you shrink until you just disappear. Nothing about his criticism is constructive. It is destructive by design. He suddenly got opinions about your appearance and your personality and your goals, your friends, things he never mentioned before all of a sudden are a major issue. That man is not sharing his concerns. He is conducting a systematic demolition of your self-esteem. Hoping that you'll get so beaten down that you just walk away so he doesn't have to. They're going to get mad. I don't care because they can't whoop me. So if you believe what I'm saying is the truth and you ain't afraid to make somebody mad on your timeline, find a little arrow down here and hit the share button. Make somebody mad today that need to hear this truth, because you tell the truth, you shame the devil. If you ain't afraid to make somebody mad, find a little arrow down here. I just need like 5 people to do that and then comment the word shared and I can shout you out. Comment the word shared. For those of y'all who ain't afraid to piss a couple people off, offend a couple people because you know I'm telling the truth, I'll tell it for you. You ain't got to. Find a little arrow down there and just share and comment shared so I can shout you out. Because we need to talk about it. We need to talk about how a man will literally try to get you to be the villain in his story so he can be the victim in everyone else's eyes. We need to talk about it. How men will literally frame you as the quote unquote crazy ex so he protects his reputation when the relationship ends. Let's talk about it. Your reaction to his mistreatment will become his evidence that you were the problem all along. Emphasis on reaction, never addressing his actions that caused the reaction. Shout out to you, Kimberly. Shout out to you, Samantha. Appreciate y'all sharing. Much love. But a man will literally treat you so poorly, and you finally blow up at him naturally because that's what you're supposed to do as a human being. Then he's going to point to your emotional reaction as proof that you were mentally unstable from the beginning. He'll literally push your buttons until you snap. Then he'll tell everybody that you're dramatic. He'll create the chaos, but then he'll act shocked with your response to it. Your justified anger will be his alibi if you're not careful. Darla, BB, Tracy. Oh, I got some shares in here. I got some people who ain't scared to share the truth. Shout out to y'all. But understand, I don't care what that dude says. Again, use discernment. If you know you didn't do nothing wrong, you showed up with a good heart. You showed up with golden intentions. You showed up with pure intentions from day one. If this man just gets cruel to you, mean to you, and you wondering, where's that sweet gentleman that I first fell for, that I first opened myself up to, et cetera, et cetera? Because this one right here is saying some mean things. Are they really true? And it seems to almost pick at insecurities that you reveal to him. Every cruel comment that he makes about you or towards you is his attempt to make you hate him enough to do what he's too weak to do, which is leave. This is how he's able to keep access to all of his exes, all of the girls that still want another chance. He probably bragged about it too. Why? Because he's held these types of things over their heads whenever he got tired of them and wanted to move on to something new, wanted to go back to the streets. And when he found out he could keep access to them because that lingering hope that they have that one day he might give them another chance, oh, he just taking advantage of it. He get to have his cake and eat it too. He get in a relationship with you to prove he's not afraid of commitment, to prove that he really wants commitment and relationship. But then he creates an impossible situation for you to show up for him in, or makes it seem like it's impossible for you to do things correctly. So whenever he leaves, like he's just gotten so tired of it and he's had enough and he's just not happy, you really put the blame on you and keep the door open to him to give you one more chance. I see it happen. It's rinse and repeat. And then he come back around acting all nice, giving you a little bit of hint of hope that maybe he'll come back around in due time. As he continues to consume you, enjoy you, call you when he feels like it, text you when he feels like it, maybe even get physical with you when he feels like it. But the entire time leveraging your hope to keep doors closed to other men who want to treat you well, who want to commit to you, who want to truly be with you. Because he'll always give you a little flash of maybe you guys could be back together again. When I start lying, tell me I'm lying. I done seen it happen. I done seen dudes do this with women that were pregnant. I'm talking about had their baby and now they get to linger that hope of a family together. Man, I done seen it happen. Whole time he out there living his best life with the next victim. He is. He's living his best life with the next victim. And it all starts when he starts making himself so unbearable that you staying becomes dang near impossible. That's what he'll say, things specifically designed to hurt you deeply. He'll attack your insecurities or dismiss your dreams, degrade your worth. This is not accidental. It's not cruelty that he just didn't think anything about. It is calculated psychological warfare intended to make you so miserable that you in the relationship, he doesn't have the courage to end himself. And by doing that, he keeps access to you for maybe another go at it. He keeps you open to his excuses whenever he comes back around and says, you know what? At the time, it just seemed like, because you know that you can relate to a person doing you wrong to where you can't, deal with them no more. So he'll pseudo take that position, but like it was a miscommunication, it was a misunderstanding. And I guarantee you he's only going to do that once you truly start giving up on him. You truly start opening yourself up to somebody else. When he can smell another man trying to love you correctly, he'll come back with all of the excuses as to why he had to leave before, but now he sees that y'all really could work things out and he's ready to if you are. Just to put you through it all over again. I asked for the truth and he tells me I couldn't handle the truth. No. Let me see who said that. Julie Cooper. By handle, he meant handle in a way that kept him comfortable. Handle in a way that absolved him of any consequences for the truth that he's now created to tell you. That's what he meant by you can't handle the truth. You weren't going to handle it with a smile on your face, keeping things quiet, not screwing up whatever he had planned. You were going to handle it in a way that made him uncomfortable. You weren't going to prioritize his fragile ego. You weren't going to prioritize his hurt feelings. You weren't going to prioritize any of that. But back, let me just, cause I hear all the games, man. That's why I did the masterclass breaking the soul tie, because this is all a part of it as well. You got to understand not only how to break the soul tie, but how to keep it broken and protect your soul from ever entangling with a man like that again, him and anybody else like him. This is why we get the competence developed in things like this. That man will literally rewrite the relationship history just to justify his behavior and his future abandonment. Well, you always, you so inconsiderate. You don't think nothing about me. You just think about yourself. He'll rewrite the history of the relationship to justify how he's treating you and what's getting ready to come up next. All of a sudden, everything you did was wrong. Every memory that both of you had was contaminated with how he revised the narrative. You were flirting with this guy. You were mean to him. You were off-putting. You didn't give him none. You were shutting him out. And saw a couple on here not too long ago. Y'all probably done seen them. They had a falling out because the man done cheated. And instead of just saying, hey man, look, I effed up. I screwed up. It wasn't on nobody but me. And I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. He didn't take that stance. Instead, he said, well, it's because you wasn't giving me none. And brother, if you watching this for any kind of reason or anybody else, look, I done been there. Y'all know I ain't perfect. I'm a big bro. That's why I tell y'all what it is, because I ain't got nothing to hide behind anyway. But when a man tries a way to flip it around, he's revising history of the relationship. Now, I'm not saying that you give anybody another chance if they done broke the deal. Any kind of deal breaker, you have every right to leave them alone. But I will say this. If that man can't at least straight up say up and down he did some messed up stuff because at the time he was thinking only about himself and he thought he was going to get away with it, but he didn't. And now he's facing the karma. He's facing the consequences, but he's willing to do things differently and show you. If he can't take that stance, don't rock with him. If he puts it back on you, don't rock with him. Again, this couple is going, they on the Facebook right now talking all kind of stuff. And he's like, you didn't give me none, flipping it around on her. And guess what? She's like, I did. I never told you no. Unless you did something really messed up, then I said no. Unless you started messing around with other girls down the street, then I said no. But other than that, I didn't tell you no when you were faithful, when I thought you were faithful. But yeah, the moment that I knew that you were doing some other stuff, how am I supposed to open up to you? That's one example of how a man will literally revise history, leave out certain details to try to paint you as the bad guy to justify his bad behavior. I hope this makes sense. I hope this makes sense to you. The woman who recognizes these type of sabotaging attempts and walks away first wins the game. He didn't even think you were smart enough to see. That's the woman I want you to be. Understanding his strategy will rob him of power and give you back your dignity, leaving before he breaks you down completely. That's the ultimate power move. Jabuki Connor says narcissist. Absolutely. I like that name too, Jabuki. That's different. But as a woman, when you realize that his meanness is really just manipulation, not a reflection of your worth, you can walk away with your head held high. When you understand that he's trying to paint you as the bad guy, you can refuse to play that role. When you see his cruelty for what it is, cowardice, that's all it is. You can choose to be brave enough to leave a man who doesn't deserve you. This is why I want you guys to be woke and stand on that. Not just empathetic, not just forgiving, not just soft. No, woke. Clear vision. Said, my husband has never taken accountability for his actions. Now I can see his crap. Oh, yeah. Ain't no fun with the rabbit got the gun. And I don't know what you're going to do with that situation, but I'll say this for you who said that and anybody else. When you stop dealing with him, a lot of y'all, I'm going to leave and I'm going to get my peace back. But you notice that something's still different about you afterwards because you have not broken that soul tie. You got to break the soul. I'm emphasizing that because I don't want you to forget that part. And if you don't know how to do so, I have a masterclass that will give it to you simple and plain. It's about 45 minutes, maybe an hour long max, called Breaking the Soul Tie. I'll send it to you for free. Comment the word soul tie. I will send it to you for free. So there's no excuse. If you finally got the courage to leave that man or stop dealing with that situationship, or you went no contact and things still don't feel right, or you just want to make sure you don't have any lingering soul ties because now you may have had them so long you forgot they're there. Comment Soul Tie will send you access to the masterclass that's going to leave you with no questions whatsoever about where you stand or what to do about where you stand. I'll also put the link down there in the comments. But moral of the story is this, and for those just joining in, like I said before, a man gets meaner whenever he no longer wants you, when his interest has changed, not when your value has changed. Because cruelty is easier than honesty for cowards. That sudden shift in his behavior, it ain't about nothing that you did. It's about what he wants to do, but lacks the courage to just go ahead and do directly. Don't let his psychological warfare make you question your worth. You didn't cause his meanness. And you can't cure his cowardice. The woman who recognizes sabotage and walks away first, like I said, is going to win the game he didn't even think you were smart enough to see. So choose yourself over somebody who's choosing cruelty over courage. That's how you win. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead, get up out of here. I'm your internet big bro. You know I got your back. If this was helpful to you in any shape, form, or fashion, all I ask, keep your money. I just ask that you pay it forward to somebody else who might need to hear this message by hitting the little arrow, little share button. Find that arrow down at the bottom and get that good karma coming your way by sharing this blessing to somebody else who needs to hear this message. Again, I got your back. And if you want more on the Soul Tie conversation, comment Soul Tie. I'll send you access to the masterclass or click the link that's down here at the bottom. That'll take you straight to it. If you don't see me in your inbox, my verified page in your inbox in the next 2 to 3 minutes, click that link that's pinned down here at the bottom. That'll get you access. I'll let y'all later. Y'all be good.